Hey, I'm Stacey Russo, and I'm here to share my world with you to help you rock your space, kind of love where you're at, and I'm especially talking to you if you are in the restaurant ownership world. And I'm going to just share kind of my journey and do my best to support you in yours because you know what? Life flies by, and if we're not enjoying what we're doing, then what's the point? That's kind of the mindset I'm in right now and the things I want to share with you. And I want to start with part of my journey, which has been being ridiculed for jumping all over the place, doing a million different things in my life. And the mindset you hold about yourself is how you show up in the world. That's what I believe. And if you believe what other people say to you and about you, and you really sink that in, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your effectiveness. It's going to affect your journey and how much fun you're having or not having. So that is something that I have kind of battled with my whole life because I have jumped around. I've done a lot of things, and you know what? I'm finally super proud of that. And I have the ability to go back and look and reflect how every single thing that I have done is serving me right now. It is never like if you've job hopped or business hopped or done a million different things, they are not separate. There is always a thread through your whole life that will serve you. I used to call it a golden thread because one of the things I did was a lot of energy work. I was a Reiki master teacher for 15 plus years. I dabbled and then I made it my full-time thing, and I moved into some life coaching. And then I just decided I wanted to be kind of in more of a tangible, real world area after my kids got into high school and I went into funeral work. It's a totally different world and that seems crazy, but I don't want to bore you with my whole life story. But I'm going to share some stuff. And I started a pet cremation service when my second son was about 9 months old or a year old. And that served me into the funeral world, opened a door there. And all the energy work served that purpose. And entrepreneurship served that. I feel like I could go into this deep dive and talk to you about all the ways that happened, but that's probably not the best way I can serve you today. I just want you to kind of explore that thought. I want to share with you the thought of what are other people saying about you that you maybe bought and it's not serving you right now. What are you wanting? I am going to use the restaurant world a lot because that is my latest venture, and it's almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in the end of April that my boyfriend and I just kind of got a crazy idea. I've always in the back of my mind wanted to have a coffee shop. There was a coffee shop in this town I moved to when my kids were little. I moved to this town so that they were going to a little bit bigger school, a little bit more to offer, more friends for them to hang out with because we lived out in the country, lived on 20 acres, and there were just no other kids right around there. And that was what I wanted for my kids. So we moved, and I totally lose track of what I'm saying all the time. Are you like that too? I don't know. I've been labeled ADHD. No way. Love to hop around, but you know what? It's okay. So, wow, I'll just start on a different thread. Moved, and they had a coffee shop. There we go. I got it back. I knew I would. They had a coffee shop, and it closed like 3 or 4 months after I moved there, and I was so bummed. So it always stuck in the back of my head, like it would be so cool to have a coffee shop and bring people together and have a place for people to hang out and work. Because that's what I did. I worked from home, and it was great to get into a neutral space. And so this thought I had, I was not 100% happy working where I was in the funeral business. I had gone through all of the classes to become a funeral director. I had to take college classes. I had to take a lot of quizzes. I had to obviously get a certificate, and then I had to serve under someone else at least a year. And then I had to take my funeral director's exam. And I was definitely in the space, completed all those things, was ready to take the exam, and just didn't because I was so busy working. I was working, I don't know, 50, 60, whatever hours, and then being on call a lot. And so I just hadn't had the time to study for the exam. And my boyfriend said, what about that coffee shop idea you had? And so I kind of secretly went and looked at a space and told him, and I was like, yeah, it's not the greatest space, but it would work. And he's like, oh. And then this other space came up, and it happened to be a relative of my soon-to-be daughter-in-law's, and she's like, oh, I'll make a call. And she called, and she's like, do you guys want to look at it tomorrow? So Dan and I went and looked at it the next day, and we walked in, and we were kind of like, oh my gosh, we were both mind blown. We had all these ideas like, oh my gosh, we could put tables here and do this. And that was how it was born. That's how I moved from funeral walk to a coffee shop. And really the ideas just kept exploding. Like, it tapped into my creativity, a space that I was searching for and all the other things that I hadn't seen yet. And I was just ready for that to come out in my world. And so we did that. And then he's like, well, what about bagels? So we did coffee and bagels. And then we've just been adding things ever since then. And literally this place, so what we were saying was, okay, we need to sell 50 bagels a day to stay open. And I thought I could run it alone, maybe one other person. And Dan has an excavation business, so he couldn't really commit to that, but he helped the first couple of weeks. And so we shared our very first Facebook post, I don't know, about 10 days before we opened, and it got 171 shares, and I shit my pants. I was like, oh my God, I need help. Like, we have to hire some people. So we hired a girl, and she got COVID right before we opened, and we're like, shit. And so we hired another girl, and she came in, and like, I'm just going to say, cliff notes to not make this the longest video ever and save some of it for some other videos. We have built a really freaking cool place. We have 3 to 5, sometimes 7 people working on the weekends at a time. So we've grown, we've added so many cool things, and I have 5 of the original people that I hired are still with me. And there is something that we've done that I'm looking back, that everything I've done before, the funeral work, the energy work, the pet cremation service, all those things are serving me now. Owning a restaurant, talking with the public, communicating with people, keeping my life chill. And that's what I want to bring to the table here. If you're interested, you know, chat with me. Put a comment below and see how I can help you possibly. Like, those employees stay with me, and I know employee turnover is such a hard thing in a restaurant. I worked as a waitress in several types of restaurants. I've done fancy schmancy, I've done diner, I've done whatever. I did those as second and third jobs. All as a teenager. My grandparents, in fact, owned a little place called Birdland in North Hero, Vermont. And it was a summer gig. They had a little marina. They had a diner, which was super popular, ice cream, and cabins. And it was so cute. So I kind of grew up around restaurant stuff, but worked in all types of restaurants growing up. And I don't know, it's just always been in my blood. So I want to talk about how I can support you guys, like staying calm, being a business owner, keeping your employees happy, helping them grow, having them be on board with your dream and your vision. Because to me, a restaurant is a place where you, like, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want and make it cool. But you get caught up in the stress of, like, today, internet went down and me adding things to the menu didn't happen, and all the things you plan and that you want to do, all the cool marketing, all the fun stuff to get out there and promote, you can't do if you get caught up in, like, being the person that makes the sandwiches or makes the coffees or makes the dinner or plans the menu. So it's really a progression of staying calm inside and really being able to stay clear and see what's needed and having some awesome people on your team. So I want to bring that. I want to bring that to you. And I want mostly you to be able to bring the creativity out into the world that you got into the restaurant business for in the first place. Like, maybe you're food passionate, or maybe you're community passionate, or maybe you just heard a calling inside and this is where you ended up. I want to be part of your journey with you. I want to help you grow, and I want to do that by sharing mine. So, thanks for watching, and I can't wait to bring you the next video. If you have any questions or something you want me to talk about in the restaurant world or the funeral world or pet world, happy to answer and be of service. All right, peace out.